Hey, everybody, this is Kisa, Coach K. And hey, I'm having a great time around teaching on a subject that a lot of us talk about and we hover around in this arena, but we don't spend a lot of time in it. So I wanted to just slow down with all the things that I do as a life coach and just take an opportunity to teach around something. What is the topic? The topic is you could be dating a narcissist. Lots of people throw that term around. Lots of people sort of talk about people who have the characteristics, but I wanted to bring some information, okay? Information along with that thought pattern, and let's just see if it's really true. Now, specifically, I'm talking to those of you who are in the dating arena. Now, if you're married to someone and already sort of, yoked up from that perspective with someone, you can look at it and see, but I'm not in any ways indicating that you should end your marriage or your union. I'm not even saying you should end your relationship. I just want to bring some information along with some of the things that you're experiencing. So here are your experiences. I'm bringing some information with that, and you can marry the two and you can see what you need to do. You can create a plan because sometimes it just helps. I don't know about you, but I have, been involved in relationships with narcissists, and it can be one of the most damaging things emotionally and psychologically and mentally that you can deal with. And not judging that person because we don't know their experience. Maybe they were raised by a narcissist. Maybe they have particular experiences as well. We're not talking about that. We're not even judging. My goal is to give you information on whether you could be dating a narcissist, so you can then make decisions about what to do next. If you're married, I'm not asking you to break up. I'm just giving information because, listen, this could not only involve dating, this could involve a coworker. This could involve a relative. It could involve a family member. It can involve a manager. It can involve a friend. Okay. These are characteristics that are going to be prevalent, though, if you are dealing with someone who is a narcissist. But specifically for this video series, we're dealing with those of you who are in dating relationships, because the beautiful thing about it, and I'll just be blunt, you still have time to get out. You have time, and I don't mean to make light of it because it can be something that's pretty serious. And what I found, just to be honest with you in this moment, is what I found is the cycle is one that can be one of the most challenging to unravel from. Because what happens in narcissism and what happens in narcissistic abuse, you can go and Google it. Okay. Kisa didn't create the term. I'm certainly not the expert on it, but it exists. But what happens is narcissism attempts to really destroy whomever you are as a person, because one thing that people who exhibit those traits, either narcissists, bona fide narcissists, or those who exemplify those traits, they're very good at identifying people who are nurturers or empaths. Whether you're a nurturer or an empath, they tend to go together. As an empath and a nurturer, your heart is to fix. Your heart is to help. So what happens oftentimes is when you see an issue, what happens, you try to dig in a little bit deeper. You try to help a little bit more. But in dealing with narcissism or those who display narcissistic traits, none of that is going to change nor put you in a favorable position. What happens is you spin your wheels. Oftentimes you give more, and you really need to think through what your strategy is going to be moving forward, because what I found is the person on the other end ends up being damaged, not the person who's committing the narcissistic abuse, but the person who's receiving it. You're receiving the abuse, you're receiving the love bombing, you're receiving the idealization, you're receiving the gaslighting, you're receiving devaluation. I've covered those in earlier videos. Please feel free to check them out on my page, but I covered those videos earlier. but you're receiving that. And what happens is all of these things are coming to take something away from you. I wish I could just tell you it was just as simple as, okay, they're just, I'm just, they're trying to devalue me. It's something that's very serious. And so I want you to understand what you're dealing with. And I want you to formulate a plan to get out of it, or at least know how to counteract it. Okay. So you could be dating a narcissist if, and here's my big board. I just love pulling this board around because it just makes me think I'm so official, right? And we'll start there. You could be dating a narcissist if you face this phase. And I want you to understand there are many definitions out there. There are many terminologies out there. So you may look at it and Google, they may have another definition. They may have another step that they call it. But at the end of the day, all of these are about the same. And it'll have similar characteristics, we'll say. So you could be dating a narcissist if you, in your relationship, dating or otherwise, are dealing with rejection. You could be dating a narcissist. And let me just say this to you. If you are dating a narcissist, you need to know that this part is coming. Now, hopefully, I wish I was smart enough to do this. Hopefully you can recognize, and I cover in detail in my 2 previous videos on love bombing and devaluation. First 2 phases of it, of this 4-part series. This is number 3. Recognizing it, you can formulate a plan, which will give you information about whether or not you want to move forward in the relationship. Or you can determine, and I'm talking to people who are dating or who have some other relationship, which can be altered or changed without devastating consequences. You can make an informed decision, okay, without it even getting to this point. Because what I find is that the steps progress and the abuse progresses. Love bombing, oh God, it feels so good. That first, when you first meet a narcissist, oh, it feels so good to get all of this attention and to, be taken out on these fanciful dates, and they're spending all this time with you, spending money and catering to your ego and, that emotional side of you. And it just feels good. I mean, you just feel like you've just met your person. But if they're telling you this in the first 6 weeks or first 2 or 3 weeks or first 3 months, you might want to wait. Am I saying that is the case all the time? No. There are people who genuinely say, that's my person, and they've been married for 30 years. There are people who say, I knew it when I first met them, and they stayed married for 50 years. But then you even have to question, I'm sorry, this is the sarcasm coming out of me. You have to ask, what kind of marriage did they have? You have to ask, what kind of marriage did they have? Was it all roses? I'm sorry, y'all, but I'm going to have to, at age 52, y'all going to have to give me some information, because you're just not going to be able to tell me, that if you're dealing with someone, or you could be dating a narcissist, there are, what can I say? There's abuse that goes along with that. And there's some people who are just better at saying, you know what, I'm just going to stay here. I'm going to take it. And or I know women who knew their husbands were narcissists, or their husbands exhibited narcissistic behavior. And what did they do? They go out and do the same thing he does. They go out and cheat. If he cusses them, it's a cuss for a cuss, honey. It's a cheat for a cheat. Okay. It's a date for a date. Okay. It's an insult for an insult. I mean, they can stand toe to toe with him and give it, and they're going to stay right there in that marriage. I don't want that. I don't want that. Do you want? If you do, never mind. You might as well pause my video right now, because this is not directed for you. This is for those of you who are dealing with things and you want some thoughtful conversation and someone who can empathize and give you information on how to move forward. It's out there, but sometimes it takes that special person to, the right person to verbalize it, or just to kind of talk to you. You understand? And to just put it in layman's terms, because it's out there. By nature, as a life coach, I'm a researcher. By nature, as a life coach, I am a person who absolutely adores self-help articles, and who will go, when I'm dealing with things, I'm going to go and research it. I'm going to read. I believe that that's the only reason that I am qualified to be a life coach, because I've done some things to help bring myself back from the brink. So how do I know about this? Because I've been there. How do I know about all of this stuff? Because I've experienced it. And because I've experienced it, does it make me the expert on it? Absolutely not. It makes me a person who understands what you are going through. And as a person who's experienced it as well, I can give you strategies or tell you this is how this feels. So I'm not talking to you as someone who does not understand. I'm just not spouting facts. I'm coming from experience, okay? And my prayer and my hope is that you see that. So I'm not coming from a judgmental perspective, but coming from a perspective of honestly trying to help you. Because when the emotions get involved and you get in this sort of thing, it can be difficult to unwind and get out of it. But if you see something and you hear someone talking about something early on, you can make some decisions which can at least help. And even if you're in that thing and intertwined, trust me, there is a way out. Let me say that again. I kind of feel my help right there. Trust me, no matter how far along you are, even when you go through to the end of the cycle, you can still get out. You can still get out. It's never too late. It's not too far gone. Ask me how I know. It's never too late. Okay? Regardless of how much you have experienced. If you want to get out, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. I feel that I need to really express that to you. So don't be discouraged. Don't give up. Just don't give up. Even though you feel discouraged right now, don't give up. KeishaSharp.com life coaching. In fact, if you need to talk to me, I offer a complimentary session, free session where we talk, and we can talk and see if we can work together, because I'm a life change strategist. So as part of that, I'm going to be coaching people on how to deal with major change. And sometimes I have coached people in dealing with major change involving them dating a narcissist. It's part of my practice. Not only have I seen it personally, I've worked with people dating a narcissist. I've worked with people who've been through the rejection while dating a narcissist. So, KeishaSharp.com/life-coaching. Let's get in it. Let's see what this looks like, okay? And please understand, there's so many different nuances and tints to this. I don't count myself to have ascertained all of the knowledge, just giving you some guidelines, and at the end of the day, hopefully giving you some hope to be able to move you forward. So again, if you go back through and you look at the phases, they're going to have all sorts of different tints and all of that kind of stuff. No worries, no problem. But just giving you some major markers which will allow you to understand what you are dealing with. So number one, they're calling it, according to choosingtherapy.com. I always like to give my sites credit as I go and search. Choosingtherapy.com. They're referring to this as the idealization stage. Now, for me, one of the main things that I saw, and they actually are giving you a little hint right here. They say they love bomb, make grand gestures, give elaborate gifts, and shower you with affection and compliments as a part of that stage. Okay. For me, my first video, which deals with the idealization phase, talks about love bombing, because it is a major part of it. Okay, major part of it. I go into great detail about what it looks like, show you some different gestures as part of that as we talk through it. And it certainly was not extensive. I could certainly spend time on that, but you can do some of your research as it relates to that as well. The second phase, devaluation, and that is, it's crazy making, y'all. It's crazy making. As part of that, passive aggressive behavior, intentionally stonewalling you, not giving you what you want, making sure that they insult you. They control you, don't want you to go, don't want you to go places or do things because they're trying to control where you go. And, I've seen that behavior in relationships where this individual wanted to control, where I went. They were content being out, gone all the time. And they were very comfortable with me sort of being inside, controlled environment, and just the tactics that they used to try to control me, to keep me where they could just kind of keep their thumb on me while they were out in the streets. Well, I don't know for sure what they were doing, but I'm sure it involved some things, likely with other women, likely some cheating, based on some receipts that I have. We'll say that. But all of that is part of the behavior. And I don't know that I'll get into it with any of these videos, but another behavior is part of this as well as we get into this rejection stage. And we're going to talk about this. I don't know if you've ever heard of this. This just comes up right now as I'm doing this video, but it's called triangulation. We're going to talk about that in just a little while. All part of the rejection phase, rejection of you. But devaluation, what is that? Criticism, insults, controlling, gaslighting. I talked about gaslighting and gave examples, like legit examples from my own life with gaslighting in that second video. And sometimes people even endure physical abuse as part of the devaluation. So what you have, what crazy making you have, is a person who spends their time acting like you're the love of their life, their long lost love, their soulmate. And what they then do is they spend their time then trying to knock you off of this pedestal. So they set you up, and you're just like, you're walking on clouds. You're not even here on the earth ground and in the earthly realm. You're on the clouds, for the first 6 weeks or for the first 2 months or 3 months. Then once they secure your affection and attention and what they believe is your love, because a lot of times the person who's the victim of narcissistic abuse, they are entering into it very innocently, very sincerely, and giving their love and giving their heart, because narcissists are generally attracted to empaths. You can read up on that dynamic. But once you're here and they've secured your love, then there comes that second phase where then they attempt crazy making. Doesn't make a bit of sense, but they attempt to knock you off of that pedestal. And how do they do it? Let's go back and show you here. How do they do it? So sorry, y'all. I love to present different things and have my toys and all that kind of stuff. So how do they do it again? Here we go. Let me show you. They do it through criticism. So again, you're on this pedestal, okay? And what you find with narcissistic abuse is you're on this pedestal, and there are actions then that they do to attempt to devalue you. What does devalue mean? It means to decrease your value, strip you of value, okay? So you're on the pedestal, and through the criticism, they're knocking you down. Through insults, they're knocking you down. Through controlling behavior, they're knocking you down. Through gaslighting, covered that extensively in the second video, they're knocking you down. And for some people, physical abuse, they're knocking you down. Weapons of choice to keep you uneven, keep you off of your rocker. Talking about narcissistic abuse. Then we have the third phase, okay? Rejection. This is part of the discard. And look at this, what it says. They're less interested in love and security than on feeding their ego at this point. They play the victim and blame you for the relationship's failure in every way, shape, fashion, or form. Rejection. What does it mean? It means that they push their partner away. It means that just what it says. They blame, just what it says. And as part of that rejection, what happens often is they are attempting this term. I don't know if you've heard of it, but I'll put it up here again. But the whole goal of a narcissist is to secure supply. Supply for their ego, supply for their habits, supply for their desires. It's called narcissistic supply. I want to make sure that you can see that. Pulling my board. I feel so official. Shout out to Creed 63 here. I feel so official. And you all have no idea how long I've wanted to do this and stand in front of a whiteboard and actually teach on this. But I'm taking a little bit more of my time, and I'm always going to inject some humor in there, but it's a very serious subject. Very serious subject. Shout out to Creed 63, but very serious subject. But narcissistic supply, Google it. Here's the Cliff Notes version. Basically, it's the narcissist's attempts at securing resources, securing attention, securing a prop or props for their ego and their loves and or desires. Sometimes they seek out, and so that's narcissistic supply. Research it, but they're constantly in search of that. So because what and I'm digging a little deeper here. But with narcissism, as part of my studies and what I've come to understand, narcissists are not, they're not secure in who they are. So what they do is they create this grandiose image, this grandiose person. You're going to find that normally they're going to really dress really nicely. They're going to be really into being flashy, whether liking nice cars, nice clothes, but it's always going to be about the image, because on the inside, they're really this is according to information that's there. It isn't according to Kisa. It's according to information, to research that's out there. Okay, it's all a part of their makeup. So Kisa's not making this up. Research it. But most are going to attempt to be flashy. They want to look good to everyone else. Most are going to be attractive in some form. Okay, and it's all to prop up an image of who they are, because on the inside, they're not that confident. They're not that secure. So they're going to look the part. They're going to look like the sharpest tool in the shed. They're going to look really, really good to attract the attention and the admiration from other people. But in order to do that, they need help, because they're not secure in doing it for themselves. So if they like to look good and dress good, they may have a form of supply over here, narcissistic supply. Research it. They may have someone over here who likes to dress them, or who gives them money so they can go out and drink and hang out with friends. They may have a connection over here that gives them all the attention that they want, all the intimacy that they want, because, and they require little in return. Then they may have some person over here who provides stability. Think in terms of the playboy who likes to have his fanciful cars, who likes to dress really, really good, but also likes having the wife at home. Are you seeing where I'm going with that? So all constitute a supply, whether supplying money, supplying literal resources, clothes, cars, or supplying stability. What is that? It's called as well. Look up triangulation. What do? They create this triangle, oftentimes a love triangle, because it's too scary for the narcissist, oftentimes, according to research, for them to commit to one person, for them to establish a relationship with just one person and give their full undivided attention because of abuse they've suffered or the example that they've seen with narcissistic parents. So what they do, they create a pseudo relationship with you, maybe the main supply or main source of supply. They're also going to have other people that they develop relationships to, because they're going to get bored with that one source of supply, number one. And number two, they understand that when you really see through their true colors, that they face the possibility of losing you. And then third, they're bored. They don't, and because of a lack of love and true love for you, they really can't often, as a narcissist, be fully committed. It never is about full commitment. It's simply about you being someone that they've identified to be able to provide a supply for them in some form. Maybe you're a nurturer. Maybe they like how you keep your home. You keep a wonderful home. So you're great wifey material, because they can come home, and after they've gone out and done everything they want to do, they can come home and lay their head down. Maybe you work really, really hard. You've already got the house. You've already got the assets. So they don't have to come in and buy things for you and do things for you. No, all they have to do is just come in and just kind of hook up to what you have already done. Give you some occasional attention, give you some occasional whatever, and you should be happy with that. But meanwhile, they're out in the streets, and they're going to have some other women or men, who provide them a source of supply. Triangulation. Normally, a narcissist is going to have not just the person that they are in a relationship with, but another person or persons to all help provide the source of supply. And everything goes back to them. So let me give this illustration here. So this is let's just say this is the narcissistic person right here, okay? Let's say that's the narcissist, okay? What's going to happen then is this is supply number one right here. This is supply number two right here. They may have a third source of supply. And what happens is it's all going in one direction, feeding to prop the narcissist up. Maybe number one is the main source. Maybe number two, maybe number three. But you get where this is going? All of this is going to feed back up to prop them up. Okay, look up triangulation. And you see the triangle here? Boom, boom, boom. You see the triangle? And at the top of that triangle is the narcissist. Look it up. There'll be a different interpretation of it and maybe a different definition of it. But it will likely not involve just a true, honest, raw, forward-facing relationship with one person. They're normally going to bring in someone else. And what is that going to produce when you understand that you're not the only person that they're dealing with? You're competing against other people for their attention and for their love. It's normally going to create some insecurity. It can create some competition. You're trying to win their love. So, you're hanging in there, knowing people, if you're dating a narcissist, or in a relationship with a narcissist, they don't care about you knowing about the other sources that are there. In fact, it feeds their ego, because what they think is each person here, it all goes up to prop them up. And they think, well, they're going to be in competition for me because I'm such hot stuff. They're all in competition, and they'll feed these sources of supply some sort of lie. Maybe number two is the main source of supply. Well, 1 in 3 will actually think that number two is the worst person there is. Okay. So that's going to involve sympathy for them. That's going to involve these people maybe even competing harder, and they're demonizing number two, but number two is the person who's really propping them up mostly. But number one and number three will just think, oh, you poor person. I can't believe they're doing you like this. I can't believe they're doing that to you. Oh, come here, baby. Let me help you. Let me do this. Let me give you whatever. And who knows what the lies are. Go back to video number 2, and we talk about the gaslighting. Triangulation, supply, all part of narcissistic abuse, all part of the rejection phase. The sad thing about all of this is, if you could be dating a narcissist, rejection, that's item number 3. This is our third video on our 4-part video series. Item number 3, the rejection is coming unless you take action. But what if you're here? I'm always going to give you some encouragement. Your help is always going to come with me. Okay, I'm not going to leave you out there. What if you are dealing with rejection? What if you are in the midst of a relationship? If you are married, let me enter this caveat. I am not saying to get rid of your marriage. I am not saying that. I am giving you information so you can understand how to proceed. Call me, get on my website, set up an appointment, KeishaSharp.com, life coaching, KeishaSharp.com/life coaching. If Keisha's not the person for you, no problem. I can recommend some people to you, but here's what I can tell you. I can give you a free complimentary session, and we can talk about how you move forward if you are dating a narcissist. Unfortunately, these things, they progress. And it's sad because you think, no. I mean, sometimes it was like, I think in my own life, it just kind of felt like I was watching a movie theater. I mean, I'm sorry, I was at the movies. It's like, okay, I see what they're saying. But certainly we won't get to the next phase. For those of you who have a relationship with God and believe in prayer, you can pray through some of these things. You can pray and maybe even enact some things which can stop the progression, okay? Regardless of where you are. But like I said, and I'm a Christian, I pray and all of that great stuff. I still saw the progression through all of these phases. I still saw that. But listen, it's according to your faith. I'm not saying to get rid of your relationship, but I am saying there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and the light is information. The light is you taking decisive action on stopping the progression of this. Listen, your hurt is real. Your pain is real. Your situation is real. I wouldn't dare tell you that it's not. But you have the power to get help. If you're married, that's a horse of a different color. Even that, I would say, get you some help. Talk to you a counselor, talk to you a life coach to see what you need to do. If you're married to a narcissist and you want to keep the marriage, no judgment, no condemnation. Just get you some information, because what happens as part of receiving the narcissistic abuse, it does a number and it shifts your psyche and causes injury to you as a person. That's why it's so serious. And that's why I'm taking time to do this and explain it. It causes injury to you. So my concern is you making sure that you get the help that you need. I am available to assist. I'm Kisa, Coach K. My website is below. You can also give me a call or text if you need to as well. You'll see all of that information on my website. In the meantime, take care. And remember, there is freedom from narcissistic abuse. And if you are dealing with rejection, you could be dating a narcissist. But there is hope for you. We'll see you with the next video. Reach out to me, KisaSharp.com/life coaching if I